Hi, Westchester University. My name is Juliana, and I have my stepmom Miranda here with me today. She's going to be helping me, and she's just going to be another person for you to look at to see how the poses might look. A little bit about myself. I'm a licensed social worker, and I'm working in the Philadelphia area currently. I am working right now at the Anti-Violence Partnership of Philadelphia, as well as Inner Balance Psychology. And I have a little bit of a background in trauma-sensitive yoga, which we are going to engage in today, about a 30-ish minute practice. And I really want to reiterate the importance of doing what feels good for your body in the moment, right? What feels good for you might not look the way, that I'm doing a pose or that Brandon's doing a pose. It's really important to listen to your body today. And so I'm going to invite you to get comfortable. We are going to start by laying down today. So I'm going to give you a minute to lay yourself down as we also lay down and get started. Okay. And when I'm sort of starting yoga and I like to ground myself, I really kind of enjoy having my hands down by my sides with my palms facing up to the sky. And so for yoga, your breath is really, really important. Your breath is your strongest tool. And we tend to use the inhale and the exhale to guide our moves when we do yoga. So by finding your breath, you might place one hand on your abdomen, and then you might place your other hand on your heart center. And maybe we just take a few deep breaths to start the practice. So when it feels good for you, you might want to take a nice big inhale through your nose. And then out through your mouth, nice and slow. You can feel free to keep your hands on your heart, or you can put them back by your side as you continue to do some deep, intentional breathing. Really pay attention to what it feels like for your head, your back, your seat, your legs to be physically grounded in this moment. And as you continue using your breath to guide you, I might invite you to start bringing a little bit of movement to your fingers and to your toes. And then I might invite you to start bringing a little bit of movement to your head and to your neck today. And so maybe you want to start by going to the right side and turning your head to the right. As far or as not far as you would like it to go. And when it feels right for you, you might want to turn it to the opposite side, to the left. And I'm going to invite you to maybe do this 2 more times on each side at your own pace as you continue to use your breath to guide your movements today. And after you have finished, and you find that your head is back in the center, I might invite you to bring your legs up, have your feet flat on the ground, and maybe you have them at about hip width apart. And then we're going to start to bring some movement to your legs. And so you might start to sway both of your legs to the right side of your body, feeling that nice stretch. You might even feel a little bit of a stretch in your low back. And when it feels good for you, you might bring your legs to the left. And I'll invite invite you to take a few more of these movements at your own pace. Give your legs and your low back a little bit of love. And if you want to have a little bit more fun with it, I'll invite you to turn your head to the opposite direction of your legs. So on your inhale, you might find yourself going back to center. And on your exhale, you might find your legs and your head moving in the opposite direction. And I'll invite you to maybe do one more of these at your pace, at your breath. And when you find yourself back in center, I'm going to invite you to take your legs and bring them to your chest. And you can either hold on to your legs from the front, you can hold on to them from the back. Everybody does it a little bit differently. And from here, I might invite you to do sort of that same motion that we did with our legs apart, but this time with our legs together. And roll from side to side. And you might feel that nice stretch in your low back today. And when you feel ready, we're going to bring ourselves up to a seated position. So you might just use your abdomen to kind of roll on up, or you might roll to one side. Hello, we are back and we are in our seated positions. We also have thrown some hats on because it's pretty sunny out here today. So yeah, we are going to do a few movements from a seated position. You might be seated like us with your legs crossed. Branda likes to kind of put one leg up like that over one of her legs, whatever you prefer. It's also appropriate and fine to just have your legs out in front of you. I'm going to also cross my legs today. And the movements that we are going to do, the first movement is a seated variation of a cat-cow, which helps open up your hips a little bit and stretch out that lower back, which a lot of us hold a lot of tension there, especially these days when we're working from home, not moving around a lot. So as we start the cat-cow, you just want to find a comfortable position, and on your inhale, you might roll forward. Lower your head any amount that feels comfortable. Your hands might come out in front of you. Your hands might rest on your legs. And we're just going to hang out here for a second. Feel maybe that stretch in your back. I feel it in my neck right now. A little bit of neck soreness. Take some nice deep breaths here. Now on your next exhale, you are just going to kind of roll yourself up, find a lengthening in your spine. Your eyes can be closed, your eyes can be open. Your gaze can be where you want your gaze to be. Sometimes to keep my back straight, I kind of imagine that there might be a string kind of on top of me that someone's pulling to help keep their length in my spine. On your next inhale, we'll go back into cat and kind of roll ourselves down. And on your next exhale, you might roll up and find that length in your spine again. Continuing to always use your breath. And at your pace, I'm going to invite you to do one more, please. One more cat-cow. Ready to roll yourself back up and kind of find yourself back in the center. We'll stay here for a minute. And then, so what we're going to do next in our seated position is bring a little bit more of a stretch into our spine. And we're going to do some side bends. And so, take a few breaths here at the center. And then I'm going to invite you to put your right hand at your side. You might have your palm all the way down into the ground. You might just use your fingertips. I kind of prefer to have my hand nice and grounded. And so on your next inhale, we're going to take our left arm and reach it over to our right side. I feel a really good stretch in this left side of my back right now. And then on your next breath, you might want to bring yourself back to the center. Maybe your hands go up as ours are. Maybe your hands stay down at your side. So if your hands are up, then you're going to bring that left hand down to your side. And on your next breath, you're going to take a nice side bend to this left side with our right hand reaching over. And remember that you can go as far as you want or as far as you don't want. Whatever feels best for your body. And we might invite you to come back up to center and put your arms up, put them at your side. And on your next inhale, we're going to go back over to our right side. So we're going to use our left hand to reach over as our right hand is grounded. Take a side bend. And then we're going to invite you to come to center and at your own pace, take one more stretch to the side, to your left hand side. And we'll meet right back in the center. Find yourself back in the center. The last seated position that we're going to do, we kind of just stretched out our hips, we stretched out our back, and so we're going to get rid of some of the tension in our shoulders today. And so you might keep your hands kind of resting on your knees. If your legs are crossed, they might be at your side. If your legs are out, they might also be at your side or resting on top of your thighs. And on your next inhale, I'm going to invite you to roll your shoulders back, up and back. And we'll do this a few times. Take our shoulders up and back. And when it feels good for you, you might switch that rotation from going back to rolling forward. And whenever you're ready, we're going to invite you to go onto all fours or tabletop position. And so you might kind of just uncross your legs if they're crossed. Send those legs back, those hands forward. And as you're on all fours, we're going to invite you to get into a child's pose. And so from all fours, you're going to send your hips back, and your arms can either be sort of outstretched like mine and Randa's are. Your arms can even be folded in, and you can rest your head on your arms. We're going to invite you to take some really nice, deep, intentional breaths here and feel this good stretch in that opening in your hips, your arms, your back. And when you're ready, we'll invite you to come back up on all fours. And so you might remember the seated cat-cow position that we did. And we're going to do a variation of that, but tabletop. And then there's 3 ways that you can do this, kind of just depending on your comfort. You might have your hands like ours, just kind of flat on the ground. You can use your fists as well to support yourself. And you even can use your forearms to support yourself. I'm going to choose to use my hands kind of flat on the ground today. And so on your next inhale, you're going to roll forward again. Roll that spine. Dangle your head. Let some of that tension go. And on your inhale, you're going to find that length in your spine. And lift your head up. I like to kind of keep my gaze forward. Sometimes I like to look down. And we'll continue using our breath to guide us through this position for a few breaths. So we finished our cat-cow, and we're going to do one more, maybe two more positions in tabletop. And so we're going to get some nice shoulder stretches in. I know we did some shoulder rolls, but this will get you a nice deep shoulder stretch. And so from tabletop, on your inhale, you're going to take your right arm and reach it up. And on your exhale, thread the needle, as I like to say, through the mat and get until your arm and your shoulder touch the mat. And then inhale, up, exhale, thread the needle through. And we'll do one more on this side. Inhale, up, exhale, thread the needle through. And then we'll come back to center. Take some breaths. And then we're gonna do it on the left side. And so on your inhale, we're gonna take our left hand, reach up, exhale, thread the needle through. I don't know about you guys, but I'm feeling this. Inhale, up. Exhale, thread the needle through. One more. Inhale. Exhale. Okay. And so we'll come back up into tabletop. And I'll give you this opportunity if you would like to do a little bit of a wrist stretch. So you'll have your hands flat on the ground, and you might we'll start the right hand, take the right hand and turn your hand towards you with your fingers facing you. And then take the left hand and do the same thing. And it's very important, I would say, here to use that breath as you feel that stretch. And then we might take those wrists and have your fingers, up and sort of facing one another. I hope you guys can feel this good stretch. You know, we're like texting all day, we're typing, we're writing. So this is good. And we'll bring them back. And if you can try this, I'd invite you to flip the wrists and kind of have your fingers face the front of the mat. Now that our hips and our wrists and our shoulders and our backs and all these good things are stretched out, we're going to do our last few positions standing today. And so our first standing position will be a downward dog. And I find it's kind of easiest to get into that from tabletop. So you're going to be in your tabletop position. You're going to have your hands flat on the ground. And to get into downward facing dog, you're going to send your seat back and put all of your weight into your heels and lift yourself up. Now it's important to kind of evenly distribute your weight across your fingers. In downward dog, it's more important to have your spine lengthened than have your legs straight. So if it's uncomfortable for you to have your legs straight, it's totally fine for your legs and your knees to be a little bit bent. Sometimes I like to do sort of what's called like a bicycle and go on my toes and give my calves a little bit more of a stretch. But however you find yourself, just take a few nice, deep, intentional breaths. Nice inhale. And we're going to take one more nice inhale and exhale. And from here, what we're going to do is we're going to just walk our feet forward towards our hands. And then you're going to find yourself in what's called a forward fold. So there's a few ways you can do this. You can kind of keep your hands on the ground like mine are right now. You can kind of wrap your hands around the front of your ankles, the back of your ankles, can do more of a dangle with your hands dangling in front of you. And at one point, you might kind of lift your head up and find a little bit of length in your spine. On your exhale, come back down. So we'll do one inhale and kind of lift our heads up. Look forward and exhale, fall back down. And then on our next inhale, we might just take a nice breath in and come up to the top, to a full standing position. And yeah, here I might invite you to kind of maybe interlock your fingers. I mentioned pretending that there's like a string at the top of your head that lengthens your spine, your arms. You might pretend that that's there right now. And yeah, I like how Randa's fingers kind of pointing and shooting up to the sky. And from here on an inhale, you might kind of lean your arms over to the right for a nice side stretch. Inhale and come back to center. And exhale to the left. And we'll do that again. We'll inhale to center. Exhale. Stretch side to side a few times. Maybe you find yourself going a little back, or you might find yourself leaning a little forward. And so before we get into a warrior pose, we're just gonna get some side stretching in. So on your inhale, I might invite you to have your left hand kind of come in front and your right hand go in the back. Let that breath out. And then we'll come back to center. And then on your next inhale, you might switch. Inhale, left arm front, right arm back. Back to center, and last one, inhale, right arm in the front, left arm back. And then we'll come back to center, and from here, we'll get into a warrior pose. So, we'll start with our feet just as they are, right in front of us. We'll send our right leg back. And so you want to have your right leg kind of facing outward, your right foot facing out, and your front leg, your left leg, is going to be forward. And then we kind of put our arms out to our sides, and from here, you might find a bend in that left knee as you keep that right leg straight. Make sure that that knee is over the ankle, and you might feel that stretch in your left calf, quad. You might find a stretch in your left quad, and you might find that you take your left hand up and kind of bend back. On your exhale, you might come back. And then we're going to come back to center. And we're going to do the same thing, but opposite way. So we might send our left leg back, have those left toes facing out, and have those right toes facing forward. Put your arms straight out, and you might find that bend again in that right leg this time. And feel that nice stretch. And then you might find that that right arm comes up and you lean back. then exhale, come back forward. And from here, we might kind of straighten ourselves back up, turn our feet forward, walk them out a little bit, and come into a nice, deep forward fold. Here, again, whatever's more comfortable for you. You might be like Miranda with your legs straight. I have mine a little more bent right now. Take some nice, deep breaths. On your next inhale, we're going to lift ourselves up. Those hands up, bring your hands to heart. And we are going to face the front of our mats. Bring our hands down to our sides. Send our feet back. And bring ourselves flat onto the ground. Lifting our chests and our heads up. Keeping those arms straight. And gazing up at your ceiling, at the sky, wherever you were practicing. And so from here, we are going to end the practice doing corpse pose or shavasana. And so whatever is the best way for you to get seated, we'll kind of come here for a second and maybe take some breaths. We're hoping that you feel a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more stretched out than you did when you started this practice. And on your last exhale, start to bring yourself into a laying down position. So this is a really important way to end practice. And so because it's an important way to end practice, it's also important that you're comfortable. I tend to lay flat with my palms kind of facing up. Some people like to kind of have a bend to their leg, or some people kind of like to roll on one side. Those are some options. And we're going to take about a minute or two and relax and let our bodies kind of come back down. And you might want to take this time to thank yourself and thank your body for doing this practice today, for giving it a little bit of extra love and care. Continue to use your breath to bring yourself down. And you can feel free to lay in corpse pose or shavasana for a few more minutes longer if you'd like. And so as we end today's practice from this corpse pose, or this shavasana, as it's called, Randa and I are going to do this, and we'll also invite you to roll over to your left side in what's called like a fetal position, right? So, your legs are kind of brought up closer to you, your arms are kind of supporting your head. And from here, lift ourselves up into a seated position. You know, either legs in front of you, legs crossed. I'll keep mine out. From here, we're going to just take a nice deep breath in, take our arms, bring them up, and let exhale, bring it down to our heart center. We'll do one more of these. Our next inhale. Exhale, bring our hands to heart center. Randa and I really want to thank you for joining us for today's practice. We really hope that you feel much more relaxed and in tune with yourself, and maybe more one with yourself than you did before. We see you, we hope that you see us, and namaste, and stay safe, stay healthy, and maybe we'll see you soon.